Hi, my name's Andrew Poole. I'm from Home Theatre Engineering, and I've been a sound engineer for some time, but I'm new to voiceovers, and so I've been trying to actually refine things so that my voiceovers are working well. And of course, then we got into the issue of which microphones to use. I've also recently bought a Rodecaster Pro, which I will probably talk about later on, but at the moment, I have a host of different microphones I use, and I was looking for something that I could carry around with me that would be fairly robust and that would work with my Rodecaster Pro nicely. And I bought some cheap microphones, and I got exactly that as a result. They sounded a bit horrible and crunchy. So I have gone out and I have bought this. This is the Rode Podmic. It is it's a great little mic, actually. The first impression I get from this thing is, they delivered the box and it was just heavy. I mean, really heavy. This thing weighs a ton. I'll have to actually look up the actual specs, but it seems to weigh about as much as a Sherman tank. It's a very, very solid microphone. Now, it's not expensive. In Australia, this is $149, so I'm guessing that's about $100 US. And you get a hell of a microphone for your money. This thing is robust. It's got a really solid guard around the actual capsule. It's a dynamic microphone, so it doesn't capture as much room noise. It is an end address microphone. It has, I'm guessing they've already built some deliberate roll-off, so there is a high-pass filter, I would say, built into this. It is designed to basically be a set-and-forget microphone. Pop it in and go. So I thought, well, maybe the sound quality is not that good. By the way, it's also got a pop filter built in as well. So the thing is, what you see is what you get, and you can talk straight into it and you get a result. Now, I've got one set up here. I'll just move my SM7B out the way somewhere, and you can see that I've got the Podmic there. I'm just trying to bring them back in side by side. I've got the levels set so that they are identical, and I'm talking in them side by side. But what I decided to do was some actual real-world testing. So I set up my Yamaha monitors, or a monitor, and I started off with a reference microphone I use. Now, I'm a calibrator. I calibrate video and audio. I'm an HAA, ISF, and THX certified calibrator. And the problem is, on these YouTube videos, you get a lot of people put the microphone tests up, and then people say, oh, this one sounds so much better. And the problem is, we are really caught up in psychoacoustics, and it's going to depend what they're listening on. Are they using earbuds or headphones or monitors, and the type of environment they're in. So it's actually really, really hard to get a very balanced perspective of how a microphone sounds. So I thought I'd do something a little bit more, and I measured the microphones. So I'm just going to pop something up on the screen here. First of all, this is the frequency response from my reference microphone. Now, I have shot this at very high resolution. This is 1/24th octave. Now, the human ear doesn't actually resolve at this level, so this actually gives more detail than you'd expect. But what you can see is a very flat response from 20,000 down to about 315-ish hertz, and below that we start to see some disturbance, and that's not the microphone. In fact, that's room effect. Now, I recorded this at home, not at the studio, and I just used the speaker in the middle of the room, so you're getting a lot of room effect, you're getting speaker boundary interference response, you're getting comb filtering happening. So there's a lot going on here that is going to affect the mic. But every mic was tested under the same circumstances. I didn't have days and days to do this. So this is the reference mic, and what it also gives us an idea of is how flat that monitor actually is, given the effects of the room. And I'm about to do a YouTube video on acoustic treatment and soundproofing, because, boy, what a confusing issue that is for some people. I'm going to be flipping backwards and forwards between these two microphones, the Shure SM7B here and the Rode Podmic. Now, I have got the high-pass filter switched on the Shure. But everything else is the same. Now I'm assuming, and you'll see why, I'm assuming on the Podmic that they've got some natural roll-off there, and I think they've done that to reduce room noise without people having to think about it. So this is my reference mic. I'm going to turn that off, and let's have a look now at the SM7B. Now the SM7B is not truly a reference or acoustic measurement microphone, but gee, it's done a really, really good job there. And from about 38 hertz. Sorry, I should say here in the test, I switched the high pass filter off, and so you don't have that roll off. Whilst you're listening to it now, the high pass filter is back on. Okay, so when you're listening, the high pass filter is on, and when you're looking at the graph, the high pass filter is off. Okay, so this is the SM7B, and you can see really flat, as I said, from I think that's about 13,000 hertz all the way down really to 39 hertz, and then it just drops off, which is fine because in voice, especially for voiceover, you're going to be rolling off between 80 and 100 hertz. Okay, so move on from that one. Let's have a look at the Podmic. Wow. In Australia, the SM7B is a $780 microphone. This is the Podmic, and heavens above, this thing rolls off. You can see them rolling it off, starting at 100 hertz. That's fantastic. I mean, if it's for voice, which is what it's designed for, it's a podcasting microphone, and it's pretty much incredibly flat all the way up to about, I'm just having a look there, I haven't got my glasses on, have I? About 10,000 hertz, maybe a bit more. It captures everything you needed to capture. The interesting thing is, when I played it side by side with my SM7B, I was stunned that the richness and character of the microphone was so damn good. So, right, so let me see. That is the SM7B, and that is the Podmic, and now this is all three of them together. So you can see now that the brown line is my reference mic. That's maintained within reason, and given the effects of the room, it's maintained quite a steady response all the way down to about 30 hertz, and that's the speaker rolling off, I would say, more than the microphone. The blue line is the SM7B. So because I took off the high pass filter, you can see that rolling off now. And then the green one is the Podmic, which, as I said, rolls off at about 100 hertz. But when you look at the performance of those microphones, the Podmic actually lifts slightly in the higher frequencies, but not by a massive amount. The performance is very, very, very similar. And so this is not surprising because the SM7B and the Podmic sound incredibly similar. And, so I've tried to set up as neutral a test as I can. Now, I have popped above me, wherever above is, which microphone you're listening to at any one time, and hopefully that should show you what's going on. So I get this off my screen now, so we get back to, there we go. Okay, so that's the SM7B versus the Rode Podmic. If this thing was a bit lighter, it would be the perfect traveling microphone, but your hand carry luggage, if you're flying, is just about done here. This thing weighs a ton, but it is a great mic, and I think you could use it as a wheel chock for a 747. This thing is solid. I think they've made a sensational microphone here. Very low self noise in this thing. If you are looking especially to do voice, then this is fantastic. But in fact, given that frequency response, really, I left my doors open today, so I've got trucks and stuff going by. Brilliant. I'm hanging out in the booth, which is great. But yeah, too much ambient noise today. I haven't shut things in. So there you go. I got my hands on this. This is one of the first ones that was available by retail in Australia. I ran straight in and I bought 2 of them. I'll be using them with my Rodecaster Pro, but you know what? I'm seriously thinking about using them in the studio as well. These are great. So all my voice and YouTube will or may start appearing on the Podmic. There you go, folks. If you're looking for a dynamic XLR microphone that really performs well, have a listen to this. Switch between the two. Stick some headphones on so you're getting a true, representation of the two microphones, and let us know what you think. Cheers, folks. Thank you very much.